Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? I ain't no snitch, pigstein.
Actually, there is...
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. Can't you? I haven't really started it. This place is... I thought I'd mix it up, you know. Summon the forces of crime. Have you ever... We rarely see... Yeah? Lying is cool. Ooh.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Does anyone in a... Shoot, piggy. Hello again.
Mister? Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom? That's nice. My mom is great. She's never angry or anything. Yes. They don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart. Lammy tells them apart. It's a grouse.
You might be able to get on Gart's good side if you replace the broken scooter you almost certainly broke.
I don't know.
She twirls the furry doll around in the air. All right? You just need to grab it from the ceiling and go.
It's Lammy. He's my friend. Sort of. Like,
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts.
Lammy usually doesn't like strangers. But you're also fuzzy, like Lammy. Bye!
Hello, hello. What can I do for you, officer? And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morell. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Even relative to examining a week-old corpse, I'm not sure mucking about in the reeds qualifies as fun. But have it your way, detective.
If you think it's important, you have been right before.
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week. Wise choice.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the Whirling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morell set before. Same mesh, same wiring. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. The reeds rustle confidently. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. I meant no offense, just...
familiar apparatus lies among the reeds, another one of Morell's traps, weighed down by stones to keep it in place. The reeds sway in the coastal breeze. They seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap.
Neither does the lieutenant. He just raises his collar. It's cold out, as always. An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your weight. It does not budge. Not only is it locked, it's also jammed shut.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every single door.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
What else is there to do? Not accepting isn't gonna bring the fire brigade in.
Relax, he thinks. There's no one in there. If we can't open it, neither can anyone else. This is the trap Morell just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality. But the reeds hiss and shake in the darkness that has settled over the abandoned camp. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. You feel strange, somehow. Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done.
The lieutenant stretches his back. It takes you a moment, but finally you spot the last of Morell's traps. This one's partially obscured by the reeds. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. The broken stalks seem like a rebuke. The sound of the city hums in the east. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again. Always the cold. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here. No locust. No phasmid either, but still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there. I just see an empty trap.
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others, like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Okay, but after that we get back to our own assignments. We've done a thorough survey of the coast now. Just running around is no longer useful.
A cold gust of air dries your sweaty face, and you look to the dark shadow of the felled building in the distance, drawing you to it. What a strange sensation. Once this is done, should you ask the wind again?
great to see you again, officer. My wife can't wait to thank you. Go on, talk to her.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Mexican origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe. Now go on. Tell our friend about it. He's proven his interest in the field.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left, went into the reeds. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me.
Where did you go? Don't go.
I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morell.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds. She told me it hissed.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour, how some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
Our first, yes.
Not all of them. There is some white coloration reported, along with beige, where the camouflage ends.
It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case. You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one. It was just... Such an impossibly sunshiny day. So warm.
Nothing like the gratitude of a good woman. Now then, what can I do for you?
He tries to play it cool, remain professorial, but inside, this man is itching for some news on those traps.
Good. Okay. And? Completely empty?
No locusts? No phasmid either?
That's not ideal, but...
It just means the Insulindian phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should correct them.
Of course, more clever.
Yes, the Phantasmadeia picked off the locust and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure.
Another trip to the reeds.
I appreciate your concern, officer, but please leave this to the experts. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture.
You're jabbing at the soft underbelly of his psyche. He realizes he's gotten defensive.
Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now, and brought some great news too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol, is yours.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What really happened?
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation here. This has been refreshing, but...
Helping cryptozoologists isn't really a priority for our organization, is it? The lieutenant looks out the window, impatiently. Damn it, Lieutenant. Have you no intellectual curiosity?
Hello. Lena and I were just discussing...
Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person. Hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Cuno.
A little hooligan. But what would a child want with bugs?
Oh, my dear Morell. You've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
Delinquents, my favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please, let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
This is a slippery one. He may respect the law, but mostly wants to pass under the radar. You won't get a chance to talk after you walk out of here. He hasn't been particularly forthcoming before. He may well still be hiding something. After he's left, It's too late.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs. Morell, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologise, Geary. You'd be more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though. We're gonna follow this through.
The first man to break formation is always a blow to leadership. This is bigger than he lets on.
Very generous of you to help us out, officer. I'm sure glad to be back from that little excursion. I mean, officers. I like to pronounce it the hard way. The old way. The Vespertine way.
He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message, inviting you to mispronounce it too, perhaps. It's odd. It's a secret rite. A very fringe nationalist handshake, probably.
Cuno's like Cuno's dad. Cuno doesn't give a fuck about anything. No, Cuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs.
So he knows locusts are bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, see.
Now they're gonna take you to Lane prison! Deny everything, Cuno. You need to lawyer up.
Cuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer present.
There's definitely something going on here. Remember his pig's head shack? You should check it out.
Cuno doesn't...
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising. Accommodations for their insectoid inhabitants.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well. Yes, I feel we are nearing a real breakthrough. I'll let you handle the Cuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
Cuno's like Cuno's dad. Cuno doesn't give a... Yeah. Cuno took the bugs. So what?
So it wasn't a phasmid. A wave of disappointment washes over you.
It's not Bugtown. It's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends.
Stop!
You stop. It's like their fucking night. Locust City, Night City, City of Rage.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his imagination. The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort.
Cuno, the pig wants to help you. Oh, that's how lame it is. Please just don't say you're...
An artist? Maybe I am an artist. You hear that, everyone? I'm a fucking artist now.
Did he just say I? Cuno usually calls Cuno, Cuno.
Cuno made Cuno. Cuno says whatever the fuck he wants. There are no rules here, pig. I fucking say I when I wanna, and Cuno when I wanna. Cuno's free. Cuno's free to fucking die, bitch.
This is what he sometimes does when things get tense.
Oh my god, Cuno! He's gonna make you totally lame in, like, 3 seconds! Don't let him, Cuno!
Yo, fuck you, see? Cuno can be what Cuno wants to be. Cuno's his own man. Cuno's free. Cuno made himself into Cuno. Cuno can make himself into anything. Cuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Cuno can make himself into a... Cuno doesn't give a shit.
Oh, don't make yourself into a pig, Cuno! You'll have to take me away!
In it, you hear snow melting, dripping from the eaves. Someone closing a window. Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. Use this momentary confusion to take control of the situation. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. C was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence, just long enough to make eye contact with Cuno. She doesn't know whether to be glad because Cuno is finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first-person singular. Cuno is Cuno, not I.
Cuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps?
He recognizes the name.
Bitches think Cuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Cuno's tired of this shit.
Why does art inspire you so much? Is it, yet your eye constantly seeks out the most critical side of any aesthetic confrontation? You follow the expressions of imagination and technical skill with curiosity. In short, art is the highest form of human communication, representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined. Have you looked in the mirror lately? You have the exact features of a savage art critic. With that beard and those clothes, disheveled and prophetic. Perhaps you should try to critique architecture too. Such vigor. Already you express a sharp, descriptive mind, ready to slice through the empty and superficial in favor of the sublime and the beautiful. Do it. Become the art cop. Half art critic, half cop. Bravo. Continue, then, the mediocre and vulgar epigones of the world. So what if everything is incomprehensibly shit and you can see it? Take no responsibility. This was a good call. That guy probably thinks forensics is autism too.
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. A new trap design, that is. I know you're skeptical, but I have a good feeling about this. So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
She acts chipper, but something's changed in her tone. A hidden worry.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
He has a 38-degree fever. His resilience has given way.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
You're right, you're right. We can come back next season, when it's warmer.
There won't be a next season. Not for this. Find a phasmid or admit defeat, people.
You can? Fine. It's better than having these people get pneumonia on the coast. But after this...
He wants to see this tale through, as much as you. Otherwise, he'd have stopped this already. But he cannot let it drag out after this.
Really? It's too much, officer.
What Morell means is we're grateful for your help.
Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but...
Wow. Co-discovery. You'd be famous. You'd show them all. This does tingle the pleasure center. This would show them all. We need to get you on that list of discoverers. No question about that. The trap stands empty amongst the reeds, powdered with snow. No insect sounds or movement around. Only the reeds' melancholy rustling.
Fantastic.
The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good, now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation? Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
He doesn't want to, but if there is one more cryptozoological runaround, he must force the investigation back on track. This better be it.
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face. Thank you for doing that, dear. Morell still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him. I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say.
Her voice is shaky. What is going on here?
Morell will eventually, or we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
Different? How? I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is now and then. It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer.
And when a police officer asks, you must answer.
Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real or not. Morell's so proud of it. He always tells everyone. No, at least I don't think I did, but Morell was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the phasmid's existence that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That, and for years his belief made me believe too. But now we're both getting old and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything.
I'm not sure of anything. Sometimes I still see it, you know. The real memory. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart. Either way, I should go. Poor Morell is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary. Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad. Likewise, sweetie. Thank you for everything. Truly. Even though it turned out to be a
waste of time. A dream. A fool's hope. Say her lips moving in silence. Like that, she drives off. The gas engine sputters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, it's snowing.
We should go to...
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness, to ask the wind once more.